सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धे भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि ओम कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. Yes, please. Can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? We can form the link and we can go ahead. Yes, please.
Hari Om, sir. May I?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
In Adhyay 5, we saw that in answer to Arjuna's question, what is most conducive for him, whether the path of detached action, which is karma yoga, or the path of renunciation or surrender, Sri Krishna answered that a divine union through action is superior,
जी.
and both the paths, that of a sannyasi and karma yogi, lead to the supreme realization, as both have equal potential, is what we saw. Again, the yogi cannot experience detachment without attaining oneness with the divine. Uh, this is what the one of the shloka reads, that oneness with the divine is important. Only then can the yogi experience detachment.
Oneness with the
Um,
divine in every karma, no? In every
yes,
action.
to every action. Uh, then Jitendriya is one who is free from the pull of the Indriyas, and Vishwamitra is he who can identify the self with all the beings.
जी.
Then one who is detached.
Vishwasya Mitra. Vishwasya Mitra. Again, that's a nice one. Yes, Vishwamitra, the friend of all. No
Yes,
vaira, no vairi, no enemy.
right. One who has his actions, one who is detached by offering all his actions to the Brahman, is free of all sins, like the lotus leaf, uh, which does not allow water to cling to its surface.
जी.
Then, in one of the shlokas, which reads that realization of the dharma, which is towards the self, is the greatest, because one can realize the purpose of his birth through when one realizes his the dharma, his own dharma.
Okay. Manisha ji,
Then
one question. Does everybody have a purpose for the birth or only few people have?
all of us have a purpose. We all have a
Isn't it?
purpose.
Yes, sometimes our attachments become the entire source of our disconnect from that purpose, isn't it? Eh?
Yes, we forget that why we are born. We tend to move in some other direction, forgetting our own uh, karma
And
and dharma.
is our purpose of birth, as Krishna is saying, that everybody is to get completely disconnected from the world, from the surroundings, from the people. What people have the idea of sannyas, isn't it?
Yes.
General idea. Is that what
No,
Krishna is postulating? No, no. Means
no.
we are
In
not going
fact,
to lose people, lose connection with the world, but we are not going to miss our own connection with the divine. Anything that is preventing our connection with the divine is something we have to reject strongly. Means while
yes,
it is acceptance of everything, rejecting anything that is preventing a union with the divine, that is important. Otherwise, we lose our touch with the purpose of our existence.
yes.
Please continue, Ji. Yes.
And the yogi controls himself by closing the nine gates, the Navadvara of the temple, which is the body. And again, we learned that sadhana is necessary to unlearn the program that is embedded into us by Prakriti. And with gratitude, if we can perceive the abundance all around, and then Krishna can become a source of Ananda for us. If we have that gratitude in ourselves, and we'll be able to realize the abundance that is around us.
All right. Ji. Yes, that is beautifully said. So there is an Ananda of association. Okay, Anjuji has written, please tell the name of the pick. That is Sri Aurobindo. I think if the pick is not clear, it is Sri Aurobindo Ghosh. You will see his, if you study about him, you'll have a big ocean of wisdom if you just get introduced to his life and his, spiritual works also. Yes, so let us continue as Manisha ji has beautifully summarized. Yeah, Anjuji wants to say something? Yeah,
Yeah, thank you very much. I
please
received
do.
the copy of the
Okay,
book today.
all right, ji. Ji, thank you, ji. Hari Om.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, ji. Yes, ji. So I think Manisha ji talked about Ananda of Krishna. Now, Ananda is in Bhog is what everybody understands. But Ananda in Sannyas, is it possible? Can you have joy in sacrifice? Yes? Anybody? Because the slokas that are going to be we are going to be covering are all about those yogis who have understood the joy of sacrifice.
Can I mention one example? So it's the same way,
Of course.
like let's say there are chocolates or they are mithai, let's say sweets, and there are
Hmm.
limited number, okay? And everyone gets one in the family. And like let's say the little kid comes to mom, Mama, ek aur de do na, can I? Then
Hmm.
mom will actually give it and she won't eat it. So it's again a sacrifice, right? But
Yeah.
in giving, she feels the joy. So it's a
Yeah.
sacrifice.
Okay, that's interesting. Yes, yes, yes. So that is there are different sacrifices. Okay, Lalita ji says tough for common people, but
But
easy
I
for
think
sadhus.
sacrifice is always out of like it
Out
gives
of
joy because it gives
yes,
joy
yes. When
because
it
the
is done
purpose is
properly.
what, yeah, but it is the purpose that makes us sacrifice.
Yes, yes, yes. It is a complete one. It is sacrifice. Lalita ji has created a bhed between ordinary people, common people, and sadhus and sannyasis. But this adhyaya is trying to erase that bhed only. Ordinary people and sannyasis are not suddenly born with a higher consciousness only, or they're levitating. They're also like us, like all of us, through their actions, through their karmas. Rajni ji is saying something. You can unmute, please, if you want to say something. Yeah, I'm not able to hear you, madam. You can press the unmute button if you wish to. No, we are not able to hear you, madam. Yes, and I think you'll have to click on the bottom left corner. That's the button for mute or unmute. Audio speaker, something must be there. No, it didn't work out. All right. Okay, if you can, you please feel free. Yes.
There's one more thing he says that given a choice between the the path of the sannyasi and the path of a karma yogi, it is the karma yogi it is a better path basically.
Yeah, but even sannyasi can also be a karma yogi. If you look at various, sampradayas where sannyasis are
No, in
doing.
a shloka he says that yesterday we had covered, so
Yes,
that's
yes,
what
I
I'm
remember
referring
that.
to.
Yes, yes. But what it meant was it's a little challenging when you're surrounded by a lot of distractions to be connected with the divine, and that is why it is considered to be a more superior one because when greater distractions, if you're able to focus, your challenge is going to make you stronger. Yes, Rajni ji. Yes, ma'am. You have unmuted. Yes, please.
What I want to say is that the all saints, everybody, they have gone through some experiences of life, and
Yeah,
they felt means they found peace in the God, and
yeah.
then they sacrifice everything. It is
Yes.
my little understanding.
Ji, ji, yes, ma'am. And it is this yagna only. Nityam yagna pratishtitam. The sannyasi is doing yagna of
Mm,
sacrifice, and that is how it's going ahead.
mm,
Absolutely.
mm.
Yes.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, sir.
yes, ji, Hari Om. So
Mm.
now we continue with the 14th shloka. So this feeling of ahankar, I am everything, or my understanding is better than the others. I am so and so. This feeling everybody has, but it is fine. It is Krishna is saying it is Prakriti. Prakriti has created that attachment. We get trapped in moha just because of Prakriti's play. It is making us feel that I am the doer. But the yogis understand, Naham karta, Harihi karta. I am not the doer. Divine is playing. I am just an observer in the Leela. That is a Sakshi Bhava. which is said in sadhana, that comes into a person. Autopilot mode. Yogi recognizes, कि चलो, my sharira is working, I am breathing, but it is my indriyas that are functioning. My eyes are seeing, my ears are listening, but I am something more than this outer aspects. I am something higher. That is the realization. Let us go to the 16th shloka, because this knowledge, as Rajniji said, they receive that knowledge. And that knowledge is the realization. Sakshatkaraha. Sakshatkar is different from ahankar, because you have become that, you have realized that. What is that? Maybe
That,
Brahmasmi.
yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
without giving up the ahankar, you will never get the sakshatkar.
Beautifully said, madam. Yes, yes. So, Swaha, first offering is our ahankar, then the sadhana will go ahead. Let us continue. Jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitam atmanah tesham adityavajnanam prakashayati tatparam.
Sir,
For
the
those,
15th shloka we have not covered.
oh, I'm sorry. Right. Thank you, Ji, for pointing out. 15th one. Okay. Na datte kasyachit papam न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः. The omniscient one God of all subjects, man's sins or virtues, he neither accepts nor rejects. Over knowledge, a cloak of ignorance is spread, and that is why living creatures are thus misled. So Krishna is saying this ahankar or this ajnana becomes a cloak covering knowledge, and that is why people get misled. It is very simple, is what means. The divine is higher than what we call auspicious, inauspicious. Can we say, Krishna, you cannot work right now, Rahu Kal is going on, Panchanga is telling me? Divine is beyond that, no? He is the Adipati of all the grahas. He decides he can play marbles with the grahas, just like that. Okay, this graha is here, okay, he can just move it. That is the divine's, what we can say, prerogative. It's not our prerogative. So the divine is beyond what is papa and what is punya. Many times people get trapped in this papa, punya, this person is right, this person is like that. By birth, this person has incurred so much sin. By birth, that person has. How will this sin be removed then? Realization of that divinity, because that divinity is beyond what is sin and what is virtue. One person got very angry, and now we have celebrated Janmashtami. This person got angry with his Aradhya only, and he hit the murti of his Aradhya, and that murti got injured. And then for 6 years, this person is feeling guilty that I am now bad is going to happen. God is going to punish me for this, and everything that was happening, he was attributing to it. When one discussion was going on that time, said, "What about what have I have hit?" I said, "So you have hit the supreme Vishwarup. You have become so powerful that you are going to break the Vishwarupa." He said, "No, no, I didn't, but I did this." I said, "Yes, that is wrong. But how many times after that did you repeat it?" He said, "No, I have not repeated." Then you understand that it was silly, it was ignorant, but the divine is beyond all of this. Sincerely seek forgiveness, never again repeat that. But don't ever get the feeling that you have actually hit the divine Vishwarupa like that. Because you are something, this is your ignorance inside of your head that made you, out of your sudden force of ahankar or force of rage or some reaction. And that person at least came to peace. What 6 years of torment that person was having. And never again did that person, at least as so far as I know, that person would never, from the understanding and realization, I don't think that person will repeat that mistake again. But this is something. We get trapped. We get trapped. This is punya, this is papa, this is shagun, this is upshagun. Divine is beyond all of this. If anybody read that Adi Shankaracharya's Atma Shatakam or Nirvana Shatakam, there is one beautiful verse about punyam papam. Na punyam na papam na saukhyam na dukkham na mantro na tirtham na veda na yajnam. That is not dismissing Veda, it's not dismissing Yajna. But the divine is like that. So if you are connected with the divine consciousness, what are you worried about? 100,000 people can tell you you are inauspicious, but you cannot allow that to create a sanskar inside of you. Why? Because you have connected with that higher consciousness, which is beyond all of this. Sometimes it is very simple in life. If you are worried about what is punya and what is papa, like you need a magnetic compass, simple solution. Anything that is preventing the growth of your personality, that is papa. Anything that is furthering your growth, that is punya. It is as simple as that. Because sadhana is done for what? Vyaktitva ka vikas. That is sadhana. Personality development. Development in the sense blossoming towards what? Towards divinity. So anything you do against that, that would become your papa. You're not allowing your potential to grow. Stop doing that. You will again be doing punya only. There will be no greater punya karma. Ancestors will bless you or will curse you for that if you grow in consciousness. You will have their blessings only. Which Devat will get angry with you if you grow in consciousness, if you evolve? No one. So that is something Krishna is saying that. But ignorance is this just what what we can say that blocks that knowledge at that particular moment. So we don't realize it. We get trapped in that cycle. Jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashita matmanaha tesham adityavat jnanam prakashayati tatparam. Krishna is saying this knowledge is like Aditya, like the Surya. How is the Surya? Surya is brilliant, brilliant like the sun. I mean, brilliant like gold, always luminous. That is this knowledge which Krishna is talking about. He says, for those who by the self-knowledge are liberated, ignorance's darkness within them is annihilated. The light of knowledge in these beings glows like the immortal sun, dispelling night shadows. When the Surya rises, what happens? Our Srishti also rises, isn't it? Early morning, anybody has had the opportunity of watching after Brahma Muhurta how the Suryodaya begins. Suddenly plants start blossoming, birds chirping starts first, then slowly the flowers, the morning flowers immediately they start showing their opening and beautiful. There's such a freshness in the consciousness of the entire Srishti. Just like that, when the knowledge comes, that knowledge will bring about a transformation inside of you. We saw Sri Aurobindo inside of Alipur jail, he got the rise of a Surya, the rise of a new consciousness, a new dawn. We are not in a jail, no. We have so much more potential to experience it. We don't have such hardships also. Do we need to have hardships for getting realization? That's another question. Some people say we should have hardships. They say, God, give me trouble, then I'll understand you. Is it necessary condition? No, no, no. It is not. Let us never invite hardship into our life. Already we have enough. Our plate is full. We have more than what we can chew. Let's not ask for more. Instead, if we get that realization in the little moments also, whatever anxieties we have, whatever insecurities we have, they will disappear by natural consequence of the realization. Sun rises, darkness gets dispelled. That is exactly what Krishna says. That is why yogis take some time out to do dhyana. Dhyana is a requirement. Krishna has not yet told it, but he will be telling us shortly. Tad buddhayas tadatmanas tannishthas tat parayanaha gacchantya punaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. On the self, they meditate, channeling their intellect, taking refuge on the self, they consciously reflect, cleansed of their sins by the purifying waters of light towards the destination of no return, their souls take flight. What is the meaning of this? First is, who are they? They refers to those yogis who have understood the real meaning of connecting with the divine. What do they reflect? On the self. The self which is beyond punya, which is beyond papa. Where is this self? The temple that is some 300 meters away from your home, or in neighbor's apartment number 4 complex. So this is where is that self? Self is inside of us only, isn't it? Inside of us, they try to connect with that divinity. Many times we feel, where is the divinity? I remember first time I am Brahmasmi. First question was Katham. Katham aham Brahmasmi. What Brahmasmi am I? How is this? Look at me. Look at my limitations. How can I even connect? But people have connected. So there is definitely a possibility of realizing. How will you realize? At least try, no? Try connecting, then you will know. No? Without trying, how can you? Without attempting. So these yogis, they do try to connect. They connect with that divinity by meditating. What do they use? They channel their intellect, they channel their buddhi towards recognizing the divine. Everybody has a different understanding, but if you can, way of understanding also is different. But if you can utilize your own way to try to realize, you will get a sakshatkara. It's so simple as that. Everybody can get it. This is what Gita does. It gives the just opening for every single one of us to get that realization. Somebody gets pratyaksha anubhav, pratyaksha darshana comes to somebody. Somebody gets a inferential knowledge. Acha, theek hai, this person says something like, my mother has told this truth. I won't doubt it. I am your mom. I don't need a birth certificate, DNA certificate to prove. I say, show me your DNA certificate, I'll get one thapad. It's a different story. But that it is enough for me. My mother has told something about me. Chalo, theek hai, that is right because I believe it and she is, from my experience, she's not lying to me. So many years, 34 years of life I have lived under her shelter and shade. Of course, she will not lie to me. I can understand what she is. So for me, that is sufficient. Somebody says, I don't trust my mother only. Father, I'll trust. So somebody says, no, I don't like Anumana. Then there is one more, they try to negate. Acha, theek hai, this is not true, this is not true. Like Neti, people say, no, like that they get the realization also. Not this, not this, not this. Then what? They have, like, you are having 10 suspects for murder. Eliminated 9. So one of these 10 is surely a murder. You've not been able to directly pratyaksha point out. But by elimination, you have been able to, isn't it? That is anupalabdhi. So these are sometimes Shabda Pramana. Shabda is again word of divine. Somebody says Krishna is everything for me. One word of Krishna is enough. Krishna said so, it's enough. I don't need to judge, I don't need to verify, I don't need to realize anything else. Word itself, I will hold on to that word. Well, with that Shabda Pramana, they can even reach to the Shabda Brahma, also the first of the first Adi realizations, by highest realization. Well, that is the way Krishna is saying. So people use their intellect to connect with the divine, whatever their way, whichever mind it is. Just yesterday, Damlaji was saying to somebody who had come from USA, one is a monkey type of, monkey, baby monkey, and baby cat, a kitten, something like that. Two sadhaks are of two types. This is what I think Ramakrishna Paramahansa had only talked about. What does the kitten do all the time? Meow, meow, meow. That sound it keeps making, calling out, always crying and always calling out to the divine. That is one. The smarter one is the baby monkey only, isn't it? Holds on to the mother and does not leave the mother at all, wherever the monkey is going. It is something like that. You can cling on to the truth. Each person, according to Swabhava, focus on that. Krishna is telling. What happens then? Then the darkness of ignorance is annihilated. We don't realize we also have a darkness inside of us. It will be purified by sadhana, by tapasya only. Many times we feel life is like this. I am so limited by my surroundings, so limited. But we don't realize the surroundings are not limiting us. We are only limiting ourselves. My attachments are there. I feel I cannot do this. I feel I am not capable. So long I have been telling myself I am not capable that I really forgot that I am capable. So when the realization comes, then the person is free. And freedom can be won any place, any time, at any instant. But the will must come. Otherwise, they say, no, now is not the right time. Now is not the right muhurta. Krishna is telling Yada, no, not now. Rahu Kal going on. Some more time, Glani has to be there in Bharat. Then the realization will come. Now is not the time for manifestation. Many times we only deny it. God wants to manifest. No, not now, not this Janma. Next, later on, another. Well, it's not like that. But this realization must come. For that, engage in dhyana. Because with dhyana, you get realization. With realization comes confidence. And with confidence, you are able to at least deal with the doubts. Doubts will disappear. The light of knowledge in these beings glows like the immortal sun dispelling night shadows, like the Adityavat Surya dispelling shadows. The Teja of Sakshatkar starts glowing inside of that person. That knowledge gives them the calmness, the confidence to face adverse situations also. In life, adverse situations will come. We cannot protect ourselves from them. They are there. Sometimes they are there to make us conscious of our own strengths. But at all those times, what is required most in adversity? Inner calm, inner peace, quietude. That has to be cultivated through sadhana. So yeah, Krishna says they channel there with their intellect, they take refuge, they consciously reflect on the divine. Then they get cleansed by their sadhana. They cleansed off their sins by this purifying waters of light. Towards the destination of no return, their souls take flight. What is this? This is a beautiful part. Gacchantya punaravrittim jnanir dhuta kalmashaha. And this knowledge is like Ganga Jal. Ganga Jal is what? Pavitra. They say nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitram na vidyate. Naturally, yoga, sansiddhi, everything will come to you when you are purified from this knowledge. It just has to touch you, and that realization comes. That is what Krishna is telling. But what is this destination of no return? Anybody, can you guess what that can be?
They get free of that birth and death cycle.
Yeah, so what will happen in everyday life then? Levitation, or what will happen to us if we get free? Moksha, mukti. That is one thing which you're talking about. Yes, that is true. Binaji is saying something? Yes, ma'am.
No bondage to any desires.
When you know something is wrong and you have done something and suffered because of that wrong, what will happen when you get sakshatkar of that? Hey, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to go in that direction. My friend was going through continuous breakups again and again, again and again. After fourth one, he decided every time, 4 times, he kept blaming the other person. But every time, somewhere after the fourth time, he said, probably he got a Kabir Doha realization type of realization. Jo dil khoja apna mujhsa bura na koi. He said, okay, looks like the pattern was there and I was the problem. And then when he realized it, no, I'm never going to go in that direction again. I don't want to fall. I have suffered enough, but I've enough. I've realized right now. So that realization when it comes. Okay, Karthik ji says you become free. Stop worrying about the cycle of life and death because you're already free. You have become free. That is also an interesting aspect. Yes, means it is like you are in a cage, and when you don't know you're in a cage, you will never try to become free, no? But when you realize that, chalo, this is the cage, then I will escape. It's like the Rajahamsa is in a cage being fed morsels again and again. This Rajahamsa does not know I am a Rajahamsa. Rajahamsa thinks I am just some ordinary weak bird, not capable of anything. I am dependent. I am so much dependent on somebody's, what we can say, dan or charity, then only I can survive, or I cannot survive otherwise. But suddenly the Rajahamsa sees from outside of the cage, he sees a window, and outside of the window, there are other Rajahamsas and they are flying. They are flying freely, and then the Rajahamsa decides, yes, I'm not meant to be in this cage. Manas Sarovar is my home. I will not be fed morsels of charity. Instead, I'll take my own food. I'll earn my own food. What will it be? Oh, lotus seeds in Manas Sarovar. I'm going to take my own. When that realization comes, then the Rajahansa's destination is only one. It is that realization. Now no more will I get trapped by anything else. It is something like that. Many times in life, we don't realize our own self-worth. But when we realize our self-worth, then we'll say, no, I am something. I have to stand by it. I will not go back into that cycle where I'm going to unnecessarily lower my own consciousness. Let us continue. Krishna says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapakecha Panditaha Sama Darshinaha. Those whose eyes are illumined with that knowledge is insight. All living ones appear equivalent and identical to their sight. From the learned spiritual seeker to the elephant or the cow, from the dog to the consumers of lower animals like the sow. What happens when that sakshatkar comes? Well, you realize the divinity that is universal. Universal in the sense, even in people you don't like. Universal is everywhere. No bhed. You're able to see something. But that's a very difficult realization to get. But Sri Aurobindo got it. He got it in the misused bodies, is what he said. In the misused bodies of those the swindlers also, he saw Vasudeva. So that is the realization, the highest one. Because the eyes are now opened and they are illumined with that higher consciousness. Anybody has got a feeling that sometimes people you don't like or people who don't wish you well also, they help you? Has anybody ever got that feeling of being helped by somebody you don't like, who has never thought good about you, who has never tried to help you also? Personally, they might have ill will for you, but they have also ended up helping you.
Yes, negative help.
What is negative help, Manisha ji?
Someone tells me that you can't do, somebody tells me you can't do this, then automatically I get
Challenged.
challenged. Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Yes, yes, yes. That is also an interesting option. This is a very nice one. So somebody says you can't, well, that sometimes triggers ki, yes, I am. That is where you know you have self-confidence. But sometimes now, very recently, actually, one herb, a supplier of a herb. Normally, I wanted almost a ton, and I was thinking the person will be happy to place the order. But the person was so, absolutely disrespectful. He shouted and everything. I was not understanding. I'm trying to give an order, and this person doesn't want to take. Finally, it was such a horrible experience that we decided no point contacting. There's no trust now. We don't know what that person is going to send. And for some reason, there was no logic why it happened. And this was a very long-term supplier. Who knows, Rajasic force entered because of something or what. But there's no point doing analysis afterwards. Action is done. And now we were in shock. Okay, where will we now get? By God's grace, one more supplier from nowhere came and we found him to be giving better quality and a quality which we would not have got previously. Rates also are much less. Earlier, I was like, why did this person shout at me so much despite having so many decades of connection? Then later on, I found out he shouted so that we find a better person. Now, he has not consciously lost his business. He's done it unconsciously, but he has helped us, isn't it? So there are like that. That is what Krishna sometimes arranges also. He arranges different people in different places. We have to realize what is the yojana of the divine. If we don't realize the yojana, we'll see on the surface and get frustrated, flustered, confused. We'll say, this is only my sorrow. Tukaram's wife was his biggest opponent. Sant Tukaram, if anybody knows the relation, his wife and Tukaram, she was always arguing, always troubling. But that was a yojana, so he could connect closer, become closer to Vitthal. What realizations? The whole, everybody in the village respected him. There came a time afterwards that just Tukaram's darshan people came to take. Wife was not happy with him even then. Like, what, he cannot do proper business also? What is he like this? He should have, instead of that, he's singing abhangas. People are coming. What? Even Vithala, she would call him names. So, Kaya, what is it? I don't like him. That was her approach. So much that even in the last moment, he even offered her moksha. He got Sadeha Vaikuntha. He said, my punya is enough that I can take you, my Ardhangini, I can take you. She said, I don't want to come. But that is a different thing. So many times you can use the situation to your advantage only when you are conscious. That is what, to become conscious, you need realization. To realize, you need to do dhyana. Krishna says somebody who becomes conscious can see oneness, samatha, even in the opposites. Even in the opposites, you can find that. All living beings appear equivalent, identical to their side. From the learned spiritual seeker to the elephant or the cow. From the dog to the consumer of lower animals like the sow. Learned spiritual seeker, they have a outer lakshana, isn't it? They look like this, they walk like this, they talk like this, the outer garb. But appearances also can be deceptive, isn't it? I don't know, my mother telling me somebody had come and he talked so well, and that person, she ended up giving a donation and she didn't know why she gave it. It was like, what happened? Did you get hypnotized? But it was something like that. She said, it was actually, she said, I felt it was a force. Very easily, I got hypnotized by that person. I had absolutely no intention of giving, and somehow, after going also, I was still wondering, why did I do it? So what you should have understood that, isn't it? Not just going by the outer garbs, you have to see what is behind. But sometimes we don't realize it. To understand it, you can see. Janaka Raja didn't look like a sannyasi. But afterwards, the wise even Narada Muni could recognize. Earlier he was fooled. But finally, when he got that realization, he could see there. So whether it is a learned seeker, or the gaja, or the elephant, or the cow, or the dog, many times people look at animals as inferior. When people do wrong thing, they say they are like animals. Why insult animals? They are like men only, or men like women only, who are in lower consciousness. Animals themselves have a good consciousness, and they're sometimes better than the lower consciousness of human beings. So then oneness in animals also, that is important. Or those who are people, whatever they are eating, sometimes people eat leftovers, people eat other, like, predators eat other animals, isn't it? Sometimes people also have the habit. My friend actually in college, he went somewhere to one more college, he caught a dog, and then I was shocked that this person ate that dog. I was very, very, very shocked. I was like, I cannot talk to this person. What kind of person he is? But he was my college mate for nearly 3 years before he discontinued. So there, it is something which you have to probably, I don't know, I never came to terms with it. I still, every time if he does contact me, first thing I tell him is, you're useless. Every time I try to remind him, I remember you for this horrible thing that you have done. But oneness is important, samatha is important. Unless we get samatha, we are not going to realize the higher consciousness. That is why it is said, samatvam yoga uchyate, appearances can be deceptive. There was one very funny looking person riding on a donkey. He was entering into a village. It looked so funny that the village pradhan and other people started looking at him and laughing out very loud. He was also eating something while riding on the donkey, entering into the village. Now this person starts laughing even loudly back at them. Now the Pradhan is also surprised. The other, wise priest next to him is also surprised. Why is this guy laughing? We are laughing at his stupidity. He looks funny. Why is he laughing? This person says, they call him and why are you laughing? He says, Brahma is sitting on Brahma and eating Brahma. So I was asking Brahma, why are you laughing? Now that is Brahmagyan. He is able to see this universal Brahman there. What donkey or whether he's on this or that, outer vehicles are not so important. Many times we give a particular extra importance that no, sometimes we have specifications. This yogi must wear this color dress, yellow, then only I will recognize, or orange. Daddy must have this many centimeters. I will take a, scale and measure, then I will accept. No, it's not like that. The outer garb is not something, it is not the token of spiritual appearance or anything. Teja is there inside everyone. First realize in us, but at least recognize it inside of everyone. Isha Upanishad tells that mandatory realization before realizing Soham Asmi. Even the great Rishi who's the composers, they also invoke God to give the strength to realize that. Ushan Neve Karsha Surya Vyuha Rashmin Prajapatya, O great Pushan, Prajapati, creator of all living beings, give me the strength to recognize Yatte Kalyanatamam Tatte Pashyami. Whatever is brilliant, whatever is bright, whatever is lustrous, let me understand your divinity in that. First that, and then Soham Asmi. And then realize that I too am thee. As how even Savarkar had said, Jai Jai Uttama Udara Unnata, whatever Man Madhur Te Te, everything, what is brilliant, what is bright, all things, creatures, great, bright, beautiful. Let me realize the divinity in there. If you don't realize it, what are you going to understand the divinity? If you cannot see, Sri Aurobindo has written a nice poem. The same hand that set Jupiter spinning spent all its cunning to fashion a curl. The divinity is there. The smallest of curl of a feather also it is there. In the coy smile of a bride also it is there. The same divinity everywhere is what. That is a beautiful poem of Sri Aurobindo. I'll try to find it if I can and share it. But this is something which must be understood. Krishna goes on. He says, "Ihaiva tayajitah sargo yesham samye sthitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmani te sthitaha." So Krishna says, Ihaiva, here itself, this is something. This world, we're not looking about next birth realization, 5 BHK in Swargalok with parking. No, no, we're not going to be looking at all those, what we can say afterwards. Gita is talking about a terrestrial realization. While we are here, while we are alive, the time is not after a particular number of days when my Shani's Mahadasha will get over. No, it is now. At this moment, if I want, that realization is mine. I am only stopping myself from realizing it. Let me take out those barriers. If I do, the realization is here. Ihaiva tairjitah sargo. They are the champions. Where here in this world itself. For with a poised mind, they have united with their self. Their faultless mind experiences the Brahma's oneness, and they breathe and dwell in the Brahma's consciousness. This is so beautiful. If you can realize it, you are going to have Ananda at every moment. Many times we feel somebody, one hero will come, somebody will come save me, God will come and save me from the difficult situation that I am in. We are unnecessarily waiting for somebody else when we can ourselves come out of it. Means yesterday there was a very interesting discussion. Damleji's Shishya, myself and sister. She came unannounced. She said, I am joining, and she joined. For me, I had 2 years. 2 years of I had to wait, and he did tests, and then. So I was just saying, I was not asked. She was given very easy entrance. That time, the person who had come from USA said, "See, that was her Tivra Icha. You waited for 2 years. You did not yourself come and say you were joining. Probably if you had said that, you didn't have to wait for 2 years. So why was I waiting? God only knows." He said, "Probably you didn't have that devotion. We do not know. Maybe 2 years faster it could have been. But whatever it is, that time we sometimes delay what is the inevitable just out of our own comfort zone, out of our own thinking, or out of our own preconceived notions. Keep the preconceived notions also aside. Realization can come to you anytime. Let's not underestimate our own self-worth. Krishna says this. He says, this birth itself, you can free yourself. You can breathe and dwell in this consciousness of Brahma. There's a beautiful song which had said, where will you run when you are scared from yourself? So where are you going to go? Salvation is here. I don't know if anybody knows of it. It is, I think, from a movie, Walk to Remember. It's dare you to move. It's asking the person to dare to move. Take the step. Where will you run? Where are you going to go? Here, Krishna is talking about this, a terrestrial realization. That is why Gita is beautiful, because you see, we are able to relate the Gita to everyday life. It is dealing with the paradox, spiritual life, material life. It appears to be different. Gita says, no, it's not so different. It is one. You are fighting your own yuddha. Arjuna is fighting in his battlefield, or was fighting in that era. Today you are fighting different battlefields. You are in different battlefields, fighting so many battles. You are also fighting a battle for your astitva, isn't it? For your existence. What are you? Sometimes it is the biggest challenge. For that, you need help. You need help just like how Krishna was there for Arjuna. You also need that, and that is why probably the Gita is considered a great grantha of strength. Let us continue. Krishna says, "Na prarishet priyam prapya, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, stira buddhir sammudho brahmavit brahmani stitaha." How is this person who is in the state of Brahma's consciousness? He rejoices not when his needs are fulfilled, nor grieves over the wants that are unfulfilled. With the clarity of mind, free from every distress, the awakened one resides in the eternal Brahma's oneness. Such a person rejoices not when his needs are fulfilled, meaning you don't get overexcited just because something you aspired for has happened. Many times the excitement you lose your what you have got. The Ananda is also lost in that excitement. So the yogi understands, let me experience the rasa of trupti also, no? That is a satisfaction. You should experience it. Not quickly just lose that also. So experience that. So he rejoices not when his needs are full. Acha, theek hai, it went according to plan. All right. Thank you, God. It was a great blessing. Let me continue. I cannot get deviated by it. Olympic champions, they win the medals. After that, what? They go back into training. They go back into training. Even the gold medal who is on top of the world, gold medalist also says no. So what next? I have to go. I am doing this not for some shiny medal or some kind of something people are going to call me. I'm doing it because this is my sadhana for my body, my mind. I am trying to advance and excel. So there's no limit for that. So that is exactly what it is. And not grieving when wants are unfulfilled. This is only difficult, no? हे भगवान मैंने क्या बिगाड़ा तुम्हारा that तुमने ये कर लिया, you've taken away this from me, are you happy? All these dialogues start. Well, I think we can avoid those dialogues. There's no Krishna is not saying don't have this dialogue. We have a tendency to have them, but at least let us somewhere come to a point where we stop that. Stop just because something is not happening according to your wish. Why? Because you'll have clarity of mind. A clarity of mind free from every distress. The awakened one resides in the eternal Brahma's oneness. Such a person is in the Brahmesthiti, always in that consciousness. My Guruji Damliji had a student from the ashram who had lived with him, once worked with him for nearly 14 years. When he suddenly quit, when he said, I'm leaving, people who knew him only were shocked. They said, oh, how is he going to deal? Who's going to look after the work? What is going to happen? So senior sadhaks, Kusumben also came from the ashram. Other senior people also came, and then, how are you? How are you dealing? Damliji was fine, going on with his work. They were a little surprised. Then one very senior person, he asked him, how are you dealing with it? He said, Bhai, Vijay Bhai, it is like भगवान ने तो बिन मांगे दिया, बिन बताए ले लिया. Wow, what an approach. Means without asking, God gave. Without telling, he took away. So where I am still back in my own same place. I had not asked, still I got it. It's like a cool breeze came to me in a summer day. How is it? So okay, it was nice when it was there. I can experience that joy. You can experience that beauty of that moment. That's all. Why do you have to hold on to it continuously? Beautiful flower, if you see, do you have to pluck it? Is it necessary to pluck that flower? No, you can appreciate it also. Appreciate it with a little detachment. You can probably enjoy it better. Plucking it may not give you that satisfaction which you can appreciate without plucking also. Something like that. Krishna is saying the mind is free, free from every distress, not worried about losing, not worried about winning, just going on ahead. That is the way of the one who is seeking that higher consciousness. It was like when you get that realization, that is all that one needs. Krishna goes on. Bahya sparsheshva saktatma vindit yatmani yat sukham sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam ashnute. Akshaya sukha is the experience of that person. What is akshaya sukham? The sukha that does not become kshaya, that which does not reduce. We all know Akshaya Tritiya, means that is the day where we keep buying gold. Why? Because that day if we buy gold, our gold reserves will increase. But we don't understand when we go to buy the gold, we start fighting. So we are going to keep fighting also, because whatever you do that day is going to get repeated. Well, whatever it is, that is just a belief, we can say. But the Akshaya Tritiya symbolism is that because there is knowledge, knowledge will reduce or it will grow when you share it. It grows. It is not something which will reduce, something like that. As you do sadhana, your consciousness will keep growing and you will experience Ananda also. That is one of the, what we can say, direct consequences of going closer to God. If you are looking at, is my sadhana going in the right direction? Sometimes people do sadhana for several years and then they wonder, have I gone ahead or have I gone backwards? What is happening? Well, simple test, litmus test. Have I become happier? Am I living a more fulfilled life? Have I become less crankier? All these questions, if you get an answer yes, well, boss, your sadhana is going in the right direction. You don't have to worry. You're going ahead only. Because as you go closer to the divine, there's only Ananda. Ananda and Ananda everywhere. Krishna goes on, he who is touched not by the sensations external, enjoys the blissful realization of the Supreme Self. He who has united with the Supreme Self, Brahma, he enjoys the boundless bliss of union with his soul, his Atma. Once you are realizing that yes, the hero I was waiting for is inside of me only. The capacity, and that gives an Ananda realization of joy and bliss, which does not reduce at all. ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःख योनय एव ते आद्यन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः. From the sensual means, all the enjoyments that come portend towards gloom, and only sorrow they become. For they have a finite, for they are fleeting with a finite beginning and end. O Arjuna, they attract not the wise, who clearly comprehend. Whatever Ananda, whatever happiness, it's not Ananda, it is just what we can say Bhoga Sukha, which we get from our Indriyas. They have a finite limitation, isn't it? Do we agree to this? They have an expiry date. My most favorite jalebi also, I can't eat after 4 days or 5 days. Some people say it tastes better after a few days, but beyond that, it rots, something like that. All our desires, because our Indriyas are limited. So whatever sense-based perceptions also, they are going to be limited only. Children really enjoy jumping a lot all the time. The same child, when the child becomes 80-year-old, can the child jump around like that? No. So the child has to find a new source of Ananda. If only that action is giving Ananda, that action will not be possible after a while. So many little things which are so important for us, they are no more important after a while. Don't we agree? Can we think of any sensual enjoyment which will always give us Ananda? Anybody? Yes, anybody? Any?
Music.
Music. That's a beautiful one. Okay. Binaji has stumped me with a wonderful answer. Yes. But that music also, maybe after a while, if my Indriyas are not functioning so well, will that work then? So Lalita ji says happy moments. So that is Ananda only, isn't it? Anandadayi Kshana, they call them. Those are the special moments which remain forever, sometimes blessed moments. But sometimes we are not able to experience it all the time, isn't it?
Laughing.
Yeah, but laughing, we can say it is a sukha, but if you say sensual, what is it if you are taking some gas for laughing? What we say, this laughing gas and laughing, then it will stop after a while, isn't it? It has your indriyas will not be able to always, means there is side effects also, isn't it?
How
I
about
think everybody's coming up with
finding?
great examples. Yes, Joyji? Yes?
How about finding Ananda and sharing with divine, sharing with others?
No,
Anything.
what we are looking at is from sensual means, in the sense, say I find food very attractive and I'm too attached to certain tastes. Even music also, sometimes if it is not connected as a higher connection as a sadhana, no? If you do sadhana, your music connection will become a easy sadhana for you to connect with the divine. It becomes like Nada Brahma, they say that is a shortcut. Music is there to be a shortcut to the divine. Perfume, Rajrupaji is saying, but perfume also will not give you same ananda. You keep spelling lavender every time. We are in factory, we have various ethers. After a while, you're not able to get that smell. Also, even perfume, after if you smell one perfume, you cannot smell the other one, isn't it? Because that smell remains inside. And again, Indriyas, your senses are functional right now. Tomorrow they may not function perfectly because there's a limitation. Each of the Indriyas have a limitation. And if we try to hold on to those limitations, we will fail sometime or the other. And when we fail, we will lose the connect with the Ananda because we are attaching only to the Indriyas. That is the most difficult aspect, which is very, very, like we can say, we are very less likely to let go of our sensual attachments. Some people say, I like eating food which is sweet all the time. Diabetes has been diagnosed and still, no, I'll keep eating the sweet. I have to keep eating. Then body will tell ki, boss, now problem. Other side effects start coming in. Because sensual ananda, sensual aspects will not give us ananda. Instead, this is something we must somehow realize. It is difficult to realize it, but it comes from a higher consciousness that yes, this is not going to always remain with me. Our tastes also change over time, isn't it? But there is something which does not change, and that is what we should seek, which is slightly beyond the pull of the senses. It is not fleeting, it is that which is going to remain. So we must hold on to anything that is permanent, because that will always be the source of what we can say that's some kind of spiritual bliss inside of us. That is why wise people understand, no, I don't want to get trapped. No, thank you. You are going to give me some powder to experience paradise. I will do dhyana and experience it naturally. I don't need any outer stimulants, sensual stimulants to experience Ananda. I don't need drinks to go high. With dhyana, I will go without lowering my consciousness also. I will be aware, I'll be alert, I'll be able to experience it. So that is something which wise understand so they don't get trapped. Not by the taste, not by their own. Sometimes we get attached, attracted to seeing pleasing things only. We get attracted to hearing pleasing things also. So the Indriyas related, we say, hearing also, I want only these things to be heard. Inconvenient truths, we close our ears. No, that's not something I want to hear. So that is something. Yes, Dr. Vidisha ji says, yes, it is temporary and they cease. Say, I'm so attached to my eyes, tomorrow my eyes become non-functional. What will happen then? If I'm attached, I'll get frustrated. But if I recognize that these are all part of my existence, I may miss out on a lot of things. But then there's another whole new world that I must realize. Then I'll be able to connect to it. Yes, let us continue. Krishna says, Shaknoti haiva yah sodhum prak sharira vimokshanat kama krododvigam sa yuktaha sa sukhi naraha. Who is that sukhi naraha? Who is that blissful one? That person, he who is able to bear and sustain the rush of anger and the gush of desire. In this very birth itself, he shall obtain the highest realization of bliss that man can acquire. It is so beautiful. Krishna is not saying somebody who never experiences anger or who never experiences desire. Why? Because such a person does not exist. Only a stone doesn't get angry and stone doesn't have desire. We are human beings, so we'll have all of these because of our connection with Prakriti. But who is that person who is blissful? That person, he was able to bear and sustain the rush of anger and the gush of desire. Both these come suddenly only, isn't it? suddenly anger comes into us, and desire also suddenly floods us. So at that moment, if you are able to hold on to it, you're able to control it, then Krishna says that you will be free. That person is blissful. Many times we see some people who are very calm and we say, "Ah, you never get angry. You're always calm." Probably you have not seen them in their angry times. They have a high threshold. But that does not mean that they have not got angry. Only they have learned how to control it. And because you're able to control it, you're not going to get frustrated. You're not going to be distressed. Instead, you're going to be happy. Ultimately, I think we all want to be happy, isn't it? This is something which everybody wants. I think everybody deserves it also. But for that, we have to learn to control these two things, definitely. Krishna goes on, he says, Yontah sukhontara atmas tathantara jyotir eva yaha sa yogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhutodhi gacchati. One who experiences the bliss of realizing the inner self also sees the light kindled within oneself. That yogi who realizes a state of divine extinction merges into Brahma, gaining absolute dissolution. This is again Brahma Nirvana. We talked about Buddha's Nirvana. Well, this Brahma Nirvana also can be realized when? When is it? Krishna says, by one who experiences this, who gets the anubhav of the Ananda, recognizing the light inside of that individual also. We pray to divine, isn't it? So many times, give me strength, give me wisdom, give me direction, give me light. We feel it will come from outside. Like wire is put into the socket, something like that. It will be connected and then our bulb will glow. We don't realize that this can happen. Wireless transmission also inside of us. Inside of us, that Jyoti can come. We can experience it. Krishna is saying that person is ceased to have any attachment. It is the highest state. Well, that is why it's called like extinction, because suddenly this person has become one with the divine. Many yogis have felt that oneness. We don't know if Arjuna is really relating to all of it. Arjuna didn't ask for any of this. He just said, I want to give me a solution. I'm having trouble in this battle. But Krishna is saying and Arjuna is listening. So at least maybe it's relatable to him, so he's listening. Till now, he has not countered like he did earlier. Krishna goes on. He says, Lavante Brahma Nirvanam Rushaya Kshina Kalmashaha Chinnadvaidha Yatatmanaha Sarvabhuta Hiterataha. This is beautiful. We've talked about Loka Sangraha, isn't it? Loka Sangraha as a means for motivating ourselves, pushing ourselves to become better. Why? For the sake of the world. And there's no limit for Loka Sangraha. Well, this yogi, after going into that Nirvana Sthiti also, why has he gone into there? Again, the aspect is Loka Sangraha, isn't it? Loka Sangraha has allowed this person to rise beyond petty personal desires, personal aspirations, personal wishes. They're able to connect with higher consciousness. Then Loka Sangraha is going to happen also after going into that consciousness, isn't it? And when you go from a higher consciousness, it makes a difference. It makes a bigger difference. Means little action done from that state of consciousness, smallest action becomes like big dana for the Vishwa. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Like I saying, don't spit on the road, or I go to the beach, we do cleaning, we pull up old used diapers and chappals and everything out, and we tell people, don't throw glass. Nobody is going to listen. Don't spit on the road, nobody is going to listen. But when the Prime Minister of a country says, ab pichkari band ho jayegi, and then immediately it has a different value because it has come from a higher state, isn't it? It is as simple as that. When you go into a higher consciousness, your little actions, you may not be aware also sometimes that you are doing this action, but it will lead to betterment only. Sarva bhuta hite rataha. That is what Krishna is talking. When this extinction into the Brahma is attained, for those sages, a redemption This is for the sages, means they have already reached that stage. They are the munis, they have gone highest when they reach that highest stages. When this extinction into the Brahma is attained, for those sages, the redemption is gained. These illumined masters with minds free of uncertainty, their every work done for the good of all becomes charity. Krishna is saying, little actions also done become charity. I think we must have come across the stories of several saints, isn't it? They just give Ashirvad and then that is enough for the people. Just raising of the hand is sufficient. Why? That is why people go to so many sadhus, get blessings. From the ancient times, it has been there. Those ones are the ones who have reached that state of consciousness. Little actions. Somebody says, do this. If you look at Swaminarayan Sanstha, the head of that Sanstha also, how much charity has been done for the world? Personally, he doesn't have to go and do it, isn't it? His followers start doing it. That is what is possible for every single one of us. Kama Krodha, excuse me, Kama Krodha Vayuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. The sages of the awakened self are liberated and free, for in their minds no desire or wrath can unconquered be. For within themselves the nirvana of Brahma they withhold, and around them this realization in all directions they unfold. This consciousness that they are having, it becomes like a beacon of light, unfolding in all directions. Wherever this yogi goes, wherever the yogi travels, around that yogi there is Teja, there is Chaitanya, and that Chaitanya spreads in Dasha Disha, all 10 directions. Anybody knows when Gautama Buddha was walking, he used to go walking, his aura would go around for a very long distance? Anybody? Do you know how long? How far? 100 meters? 200 meters?
1 kilometer.
Yeah, means where the Buddha's movement would take place around him, that consciousness would go around so long. But that is Buddha, no? What about us? That's a question. वो तो उनका ठीक है, उनके लिए ठीक है. Champions will do their work. What about every ordinary person? That's the question that comes in. Do we have an aura? Each of us? Anybody? Yes? Can we measure it with a scale or something like that? Maybe not. But we can become conscious of it, isn't it? Like now, say you're looking at the screen, suddenly somebody comes from somewhere. Even if you don't turn, you're able to see, isn't it? Around you, somebody moves an object, something, because that is your area, that is the area of consciousness which is there. When you do sadhana, this consciousness increases. The circle, if you are drawing an imaginary circle, which you are conscious of, slowly the consciousness circle increases. Then the great anubhavs come. Telepathy, somebody sitting somewhere else has a thought, and you are able to grasp that thought. You are connected consciously with people. People far off also. Damleji used to try practicing this with his friend in his early days of sadhana. What I am thinking, I will write down. What you think, you also sit at this time, you also write down, and let us send a letter. That time there was no WhatsApp or something like that, isn't it? To experiment. Nowadays we have that luxury. We can just send a message, it goes immediately. But that was an experiment, but it is possible. People sitting far off also, they can have the same thoughts. I met one elderly gentleman who wrote a beautiful book called Lamppost. It was full of so many poems. When I opened, he gifted that book to me. I gave my book to him. Mine was a smaller book. It was something, he is so senior. I'm just, that was my first book when I had written. What was surprising was the themes of the books in the poems were almost the same. I had written about farmer's cry, he's also written about that. One more, something like that. And not one of us asked, did you copy me? Did you take? Nobody felt that because the poems were different, but the idea was the same. How is it possible? Well, there's a cosmic consciousness. We have to connect to it. And the yogis are able to do that. And one of the aspects is that aura around them. one participant, I mean, not participant, one guest had come in one session, Professor Arun Tiwari, who has written this book called Wings of Fire with Dr. Abdul Kalam sir. So he had shared his experience, of first experience of Kalam sir's aura. Inside of the DRDO library, he was sitting there. Kalam sir walked in and sudden pin drop silence fell. Because this was before Kalam sir became the Dr. Abdul Kalam that we know. He was a senior scientist who had come after this successful missile launch. But he said, for the first time, I saw the power of the aura because that time everybody became silent. Someone asked, who is this person who has come? They said, quiet, let him go. They said, that is Dr. Kalam, whose deeds are already superseding what he has done. Everybody is already aware of what brilliant work he has done. Well, that is something like that. We'll stop today with this, but my question is, do you think we can also cultivate an aura? Yes? Anybody? Krishna is talking about this great yogis, great saints, but what about us?
Yes, we can also do that
Any ways you can think of?
by the spiritual practices, sadhana, and all these things.
Okay. Anjali says spiritual practice. Raviji, yes, sir, you were saying something?
Raising the
Positivity,
vibration.
spreading
Okay.
selfless service.
Okay, selfless service, positivity. Yes, yes.
Acts of kindness, some small acts of kindness and
Okay,
gratitude.
okay, great karmic acts of kindness also. What about dhyana?
Yes, it connects you to the universal consciousness.
Yes, so dhyana is important, isn't it? So, interestingly, though Arjuna did not sign up for a meditation session with Krishna inside of the battlefield, Krishna reveals two techniques of dhyana. They are so interesting, but though they are so, it's like a blink and a miss. In one shloka, Krishna gives one technique, another shloka, he gives another technique. The second one becomes more prominent, but he doesn't describe anything else beyond the technique itself. Means he doesn't talk about any other development, the kosha, what activation is taking place. Nothing. He's just talked about the technique, and we will be looking at that technique tomorrow. We can also practice it. In one batch, I had said, let us try for 2 minutes. One person liked it so much that they said, let us practice it every day, every batch after prayer. We should do it for 2 minutes. So, take care, we'll do it. After 8 months, he said, I am practicing 2 minute meditation. It was like we did it for 2 minutes in the class. It was not supposed to be a 2 minute meditation. But this person has been doing it for 9 months and is getting benefited by Krishna's meditation technique, even though it's just 2 minutes. Well, we'll let us see. We will stop today because time is not this short. Tomorrow we'll look at that technique, and one more technique will be introduced. After that, Arjuna's reaction also will be quite interesting because I do not know if Arjuna really wants to hear all of this, but he is hearing, and because of him, because it's being recorded, we are also able to hear. So this technique, second technique of dhyana, first technique we'll see tomorrow, and maybe if possible, the second as well. Can someone summarize something that we saw, some of the takeaways for us? Then we'll conclude. Yes, Ji. Yes, anybody? Some of the takeaways for today? If today's session was not very boring. Yeah. Yes, please. Anything? Yes, if you can unmute, it will be nice. Anybody? Yeah, okay. Yeah, no need to raise your hand. Thank you. Chitraji is coming to my rescue. Thank you. Yes. Yes, please.
If I'm audible, is there any net issue? I'm not able
No,
to
you're
make out.
no,
It's fine.
I'm able to hear you. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay, okay. So we saw what exactly a realized person seems like. First, we saw that he emanates like the sun. So that's how we see what a realized person's knowledge can do. And then So they meditate, they channelize their intellect to attain this realization. And then they also take refuge in the divine. And this knowledge is going to purify them and help them free from this cycle of birth and death. And then what happens once the person reaches that state of realization? So he begins to see divinity in everyone. So it can be animals and be it other wise beings or even
Or
otherwise.
unwise people also.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
And then the mind, since it's free, it begins to experience the oneness with the Brahman. So, and he's always balanced. He doesn't rejoice when his wishes are granted, and he doesn't feel dejected if they are not fulfilled. So, with this clarity in mind, he is always free and awakened. Um, and he's untouched by all the sensory pleasures. And because he realizes that those are all limited and temporary and they're not everlasting. And he thinks of the divine always and realizes that it is the everlasting Ananda. And he has united with the divine. And yeah, one can, if he can control all these things in this Janma itself, he can achieve the realization.
Yeah, so that freedom is possible at any moment, isn't it? The moment we decide we are free, we can become truly free. Nothing can bind us. We have had a long history of freedom fighters, isn't it, in our Bharat, who have they have experienced freedom. It is sometimes some people say, no, no, the system only is like this. But there was one very nice philosopher, though he came up with a nihilistic philosophy, but his quote is pretty nice. It's like the only way of dealing with an absolutely unfair system is to become so absolutely free that your very existence becomes an act of rebellion. The system is unfair, but I am free. Everybody around me is treating me this way, treating me that way, but that's not making any difference on me. I am so free, I'm so happy, I'm so blissful that I am free, and it is just a failure of all those who are trying to chain or bind a person. It is as simple as that. We can become free. Krishna is saying it is normal to feel angry. It is normal to also have desires. We're human beings, isn't it? So we'll have anger, we'll have desires. We don't have to again start feeling guilty. "Arey, I got angry, I got angry. Then you get angry over yourself again for getting angry. So the entire new cycle you are starting. Instead, yes, control. Anger will come, but the hero or the heroine is one who is able to control that moment of anger. You're able to channel it. The gush of anger, the rush of desire. They come suddenly. Suddenly, I got carried away. People sit quietly, suddenly a desire comes in, and then they feel it is their duty to run after that desire. Many times they go astray because of it. Instead, calm down, peacefully look at it. Is it required? Somebody has done you wrong, also don't get angry and shout back. It will not have a transformational effect. Instead, become calm. So, if you are able to control anger, you're able to control desire, well, you are going to be happy. As simple as that, Krishna says. That person is free. And these yogis, they are able to generate an aura. An aura is around them wherever they go. We saw aura of Bhishma, isn't it, in the first adhyay? Even the stronger people would feel strong. The Shankanas of Bhishma immediately made heroes also feel more powerful who were on his side. Because that is the aura. Divine people, when we meet, we feel that aura in their presence. Many people go to their different gurus. So many we are lucky in Bharat that we have so many panthas, so many margas. So why do they go there? Even in the ashram, but now Sri Aurobindo ashram, you go to the samadhi. There's a beautiful aura of quietude there. Just go sit quietly. There nobody gives you a dialogue or discussion. Also, somebody gets frustrated after coming. Hey, nobody told me anything. They just told, "Shh, don't make noise." They asked me to sit. Go. I sat. I came out. There was nothing there. There's no customer service. A lot of people complain. But this is not something which has to be understood from the quietude on the inside. So that is there and that unfolds in all directions wherever they go. Sometimes even in business meetings, we can feel the presence of aura. One person comes into the meeting and suddenly the harmonies are established. What was disharmony every time? But that's the aura of the person. Everywhere we go, land registration also, you see somewhere, office, suddenly the register is frustrated. New person comes, suddenly he has become quiet. How is it possible? What has happened? Well, that is the everywhere interactions of aura takes place. So it becomes important, all the more important that we cultivate our aura. We need to figure out what needs to be done. Krishna is going to help us. Let us see the next technique. We will see it tomorrow. I conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Hari Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम जी नमस्कार any questions you are welcome or I'll conclude.
Yes, I have a question.
All right जी.
Yeah, so it's written that he nor grieves over the wants that are unfulfilled. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of cliche question, but how a person whose basic needs like food on the table, they are not being fulfilled, how will they console themselves?
Will grieving
adding on to
ensure
that, adding
will
on to that, like some desires are just so strong that can't, if they are not
well look at the second question next. First what you said, no? But like you said, food on the table. Will grieving ensure food comes on the table?
No, it will not.
It will not, isn't it? So the person will have, it is the simplest answer is that grieving will not ensure. I'll have to work for it. All right, it's unfortunate. I don't like it. You're not supposed to like the situation which is not right. But grieving does not change it. No, my life is like this. Nothing can be done to change it. What is it? So sad. I'm no more free. I don't have an option. I don't have an opportunity. Saying that will not change anything. No, sometimes saying that reinforces the sanskara. We are again and again repeating. We are doing a wrong japa. We should have been doing japa of the deva. Instead, we are doing the japa of the situation again and again, making it more strong, more intense. Instead, focus on the karma. We cannot do anything by grieving. That is all. That is all it's talking about. It's not like you should not feel sad. It will naturally make you feel sad, but you'll have to come out of it. Yeah. Second part, you were saying something.
In fact, I was saying that some desires are so strong,
Yeah.
like they are so inbuilt in you that it feels that their unfulfillment can keep you from salvation more than the fulfillment. It's rather they fulfill and then maybe you can find your way. Because
Is there an example there for such a thing? Any example you can think of?
yeah, for example, suppose a woman wants to become a mother.
Yeah.
For her that is a very strong desire, and
Yes,
it is
yes.
natural.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
how would she get away from that desire? Because
No,
it's
but
very
no, that is no. We're not saying to get away or run away from desires. We're asking about controlling the desires, isn't it? Now, if I am going to equate my motherhood with womanhood, for some reason I'm not able to become a mother. Can I say I cease to remain like that? Means our attachment to that means like say aspiration, like a woman, man may want to become a father, isn't it? But does everybody become a father? For so many factors, it does not happen, no?
but
So how do the people deal with it then? How do you think people deal with it?
they learn to accept.
They learn to accept. That is important. Sometimes it is very interesting that, like now you see Dr. Abdul Kalam himself did not have any children of his own, isn't it? But how many people look up to him? So many look up to him as a father figure, no? Despite himself not having. And I came to know it was not that he didn't want to get married or anything like that. But his life journey took him there, no? And very interestingly, there was one poem which I had written, which Kalam sir appreciated. And I was very surprised. Why did he like this poem? This was just, in my opinion, compared to the other spiritual poems, I thought he may like that, but he liked this poem called Father's Song. I was like, this is about father, about a daughter getting married, and father is saying, will you still remain on my wrinkled brows, worry shows? When tomorrow comes, will you still remain this close? Or will someone more precious steal you under my nose? Now, that's a very simple poem. It's nothing. It's like I was like, what is he? Why is he liking it? But then my Guruji told me, no, though he is not a father, he has the karuna of a father. The father feeling is there so that it can come. So mamatva is not connected being giving birth only, isn't it? I can aspire, but sometimes people want and still are not able to.
Yeah,
What
but
happens then?
acceptance journey can also keep us away
It-
from. If you ask
What?
that person, I'm saying that acceptance, there is a journey to accept something. You have,
Yeah,
but at
the
the
earlier you accept, the less painful it becomes.
but then how it's very difficult to ask that person to connect with the divine and do bhakti because for them
No, that is, but ultimately, no,
or to
ultimately,
find themselves.
no, but ultimately they have to find, no. In our one batch, there's one participant who had a very sad experience. Her husband passed away in a marathon immediately after a couple of years marriage. And her husband was so perfect. It was actually shocking news all over the India. Actually, I came to know about the news before I knew the participant because I was shocked. Why would such a healthy person suddenly disappear? Life is like that. No, it throws those unexpected punches. If you are ready, you can face the punches. Otherwise, you'll break. Then she learned to find the joy for her son. She cried all her tears. She finished her tears. Then she saw the light in her child, and now she's seeing her husband also in the child. She is now connecting with the divine also. She said recently she found a guru also who is giving her margadarshan. So the turn towards divinity came. It's all very varied. Means some people may require later on. Some people quickly get it. Some people probably find the direction and so they become free. We do not know. Everybody's approach is different. But attaching to it because it's like it's not something everybody can choose, isn't it? Consciously, who will not want to have a nice, happy family and a good family and life? Everybody wants it, isn't it? Everybody wants to have a family life which is good and nice. How many of them are happy with their family life? Not everybody. Most are not. Why? This is the samsara. So that is a part. How can you deal with it? It is by acceptance only, isn't it? Not accepting will not change anything. No,
No,
I
but
don't accept.
I'm saying that having having that could have made it more easier to find
Having what?
having the desire fulfilled. Unfulfillment can also keep you away from salvation. That's what I'm saying. For
No,
any
unfulfillment can keep you away from salvation.
yes, that's what I'm trying to.
I know, just actually speaking, half an hour back, I was talking to the parents of half an hour before our class started in our apartment system. The parents the mother was having tears over the child. Why did I give birth to this child? Because the child is doing something very, very horrible that the parents are feeling, ki, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? So now the experience is there, but that experience is not making them feel fulfilled at all. No, it's a purva janma sakrut for everyone. Everybody doesn't have to go through. It's like every engineers should become engineers. Doctors should become doctors. Bakers should become bakers also, no? Or everybody gardeners should be gardeners. Why everybody should become engineer and doctor? It's not required. It's each person has that marga. If it is required for you, if it is necessary, and if it is a divine will, it will manifest. Each person's path is different. But holding on to desire does not guarantee anything. Sometimes it becomes the entire, what we can say, hurdle also. When you don't hold on, no, naturally when it happens, like Isha Upanishad says that only. You become free. Means Isha avasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam. Tena tyaktena bhunjita. Bhunjita meaning enjoy. It's not saying don't enjoy, but sacrifice to the divine, experience the ananda of sacrificing. Transcend your choice, limitations. Theek hai, all right, swaha. And how should you live it? Not for fun, 1 day, 2 day. Kurvanneveha karmani, jiji vishe chatam samaha. A full lifespan, 100 years. This is the way. Keep doing your actions. Kurvanneveha karmani, jiji vishe chatam samaha. Evam tvai nanya tetosti, na karma liptate nare. This is the only way. Personally, I remember when I was in KG, I had told my mother I'm going to get married to this person, and this way I'm this is the person I have found. Now I'm 34, I've still not got married. But does that mean that I am now going to not get moksha because I have not fulfilled my desire when I was in kindergarten? Yes, Aditi ji, what do you think? No, no, isn't it? Each person has a path. It's not a, I don't think it means getting married only will guarantee moksha. I don't know. Most of my friends are classmates, they're all dad, and they say, now I understand why you did not get married. We are all having trouble. Now I have to go after my school and children's school and this, that, so many problems. My missus is not giving me free time. Look at you. Morning, afternoon, evening, you are free. So I don't know, and that does not mean that not marrying is going to give moksha also, no? Like that, becoming a mother, giving birth to a child, it's a brilliant experience. It's a lovely experience. It's the most divine. Holding a baby in the hand, your own child, lovely. But if that doesn't happen, does not mean moksha will not come to you. So these are all experiences. Each person is born. Sometimes the story is written already. You just have to experience it. And how do you experience it? Well, happily, whatever is there, experience it that way. So, but attachment is a problem, though, Chief. That is what Krishna is telling. He'll keep telling till 18 adhyayas. We'll have to see Arjuna getting convinced. Arjuna is going to not going to actually fully accept what Krishna is saying at this moment as well. In this adhyaya, next adhyaya, it will be visible. He's also going to say react in such a way that teacher wonders, sir, I had not this theorem I didn't understand. No, sir, I didn't understand mathematics only. Like that, his reaction is going to be. We'll have to see that. All right, Chief. Okay? Yeah. Hari Om. Namaste. Namaste.
Bhaiya, I still have a question on to what you spoke.
All
कि
right.
अगर
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, तो फिर what if let's say a person wants to be a mother or father or any sort of relations that we are looking for, but we are not finding it in physical world, whatever reason, can't we assume our Arad to be that, like Bal Krishna, Bal
Okay.
Ganesha, in case a mother is want to have a child, but if she is not having a one,
Yes,
then we
yes.
can have a connection with divinity in that relation, because I think
Yeah.
divinity is always saying, right, like any relation is okay with him or her, like whatever that is. So why not
Yeah.
that?
You can have that, but again, if it is the state of consciousness that matters, otherwise children also have dolls and all, no, and they talk to the dolls, no.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same then? आज मेरा
पता नहीं.
आज मेरा बेटा कॉफी पीने वाला है, then empty tea and one kid will feed their child with that tea and coffee, something like that. It's an empty cup only, isn't it? So it should not be
Okay.
just a mental desire based like sometimes auto suggestions happen, visualizations happen. Sometimes people get trapped in their own internal circle of
Oh,
thought. That should not happen. But otherwise, hold on. So many people so many people connect to that. Like you said, no, that is also true. But again, it is up to the sincerity of the aspiration that the individual has.
okay, understood. Next
Yes.
question is, what is moksha? Today we talked about moksha. तो फिर एक sentence आया था कि a person can get can get moksha even if he is on this material world,
No,
because वो
yeah, I can tell you the shloka itself. Better to look because moksha definition, if it was moksha was definable, it would have been the best book definition of moksha would be giving everybody moksha just reading the definition. It's not something which can be fully defined, but if you look at the shloka, ihaiva tairjitah sargo yesham samye sthitam manah nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmani te sthita. Means this is the Brahmic consciousness, Brahmic oneness. Those persons are in the nirdvandva, that no, what we can say, nirdosham in the sense free from fault. They're experiencing oneness of divine consciousness. Where in this world, means this shloka is actually negating the understanding that the divinity can be realized in this birth. A lot of people feel it cannot be realized at all. Many spiritual groups also try to emphasize that divinity will be realized elsewhere in another loka, but not in this bhuloka. This shloka says you can experience it when, with a poised mind, you have experienced oneness. So that's freedom, keeping balance. No? Moksha is there, Jivan Mukta is there. These are all different words for that realization.
Then again, the question is, what is moksha then? Because I have heard somewhere ki if a person get moksha, he or she won't even be having birth or death. तो
That is
आप उससे
moksha
पार
from
हो
the
जाते
that is moksha is the cycle of birth and death, getting freedom from it. All sanskaras disappear. But if you
but
aspire for moksha only, isn't that an attachment?
yeah, I agree, but now my question is, if a person is away from birth and death, even if he is on this material world, it will mean nothing to him or her, because uh, he is upper or away from this thing, like it doesn't has any attachment, so
Is
technically he is
Krishna
having moksha,
free? Is Krishna free?
I
Is
guess.
Krishna having mukti? Is Krishna is already, he's the realizer. He says, Moksha Ishyami, I'll give you moksha. Somebody who has only can give, no? And because,
Yeah,
yeah, technically or logically, I have 100 rupees, I can say, I'll give you money, I'll give you 100. If I have only 5 rupees, I cannot tell you, I'll give you 100, isn't it? So there's a shloka in the Gita which says, Moksha Ishyami Ma Shucha. Stop worrying about moksha, I'll give it to you, is what he says. Meaning he's a possessor of
okay,
moksha by logic.
understood.
What is the
Yeah,
possessor of moksha doing? Nothing, or he's becoming Sarathi. He's becoming charioteer of
actually,
who? Absolutely, we can say confused Arjuna, his driver. He is becoming his charioteer. Why? He doesn't need to, isn't it? But still he is doing. So moksha means he will do nothing is not true. One in moksha will probably be in sync with the highest consciousness, which is flowing at different levels, and do whatever is required for that consciousness. The person is free from these cycles of, we'll later on learn about Prakriti and the bandhanas. Free from bandhana is mukti. We don't have to look at a literal meaning, because sometimes, like that way, Trayambakam, that mantra also, people will literally equate cucumber giving moksha. No, that is also called a mantra of moksha, because Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanat mrityor mukshiyam amritat. From mrityu, give me moksha. Somebody may say, eat cucumbers every day, you will get moksha. Probably will get moksha from stomach issues or digestion problems, but not really that supreme moksha.
okay, understood. Thanks.
Ji, all right.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.